Feel Good Talk, where our focus is on mind, body, soul, and business. You are now tuning into Let's Talk About It with your girl Izzy Meditates and your girl Kendra Moore. What's up, Kenny?
Hello. Greetings from Orlando.
Yay! It's so exciting. So, how's everything going?
Oh, it is going. It's a lot. I moved and then came in on Sunday, and then I've been working the new job since January, but then I jumped right in on Monday to
Yeah.
work. So this weekend once I hit like Saturday, then I think I'll be like, oh, okay. Now I live here, but right now I'm just in like go do mode. You know how I do.
Yeah. It's a lot to like pack up and move like far away. You know what I mean? To get everything
And now I got to get everything together, get registered as a Florida resident, and do all that stuff. So, but I am happy to be here. Glad to be close to my family. Already saw a couple of my aunts came through. Nice. Saw an old neighbor, and so I think it'll be great. It'll be great. It's just
the weather's nice. I love the weather there.
If you like hot, the heat index was like 101 today.
Yeah, but the humidity is different. It's not as
the humidity is humid. That's what it is.
You think so?
Great girl, all day, every day. I went walking last night at like 10 o'clock at night. David and I around like the block. We were drenched in sweat. It was so humid. The poor dog was like laid out when he came home. Like he did not want to move. So good.
Poor thing.
So before we jump into our topic, our topics, because I'm super excited about all three of them today. How are you?
I'm good. I feel like I'm super busy. I don't know why. It just seems like it's much busier than before, but I'm pretty good. Just trying to get my son into school, getting that all straightened out, and trying to figure out what to do if I'm going to homeschool Cass or if we're going to go to school full time. So just been doing that, doing our podcast, meditation and everything, but it's just been like so like there's something to do like every minute, I feel like, but not as intense as you. Like moving is intense.
Now, I mean, you have a son getting ready to go to college. That's mad intense. You know what I mean? Your first time. So that is a lot. So
getting him into the mentality.
High five to all the busy moms out there trying to get it done. Yes, high five. Trying to get it done sober. High five.
It's the truth.
Yes, Hunty. So I'm excited about our topics. Do you want to start with one?
I'll let you start off.
Okay. So this week, you guys, what we wanted to do is touch on a few topics that were popular in the news and kind of get your opinion. We're gonna just like the show said, we're just gonna talk about it. So let's talk about it. Starting off with Simone Biles. So for those of you who live under a rock and do not know Simone Biles, no shade, Izzy.
Thank you.
And do not know Simone Biles, she is, dare I say, America's favorite gymnast. Is that how I would say it? Gymnast? Sure.
Yes. That's
I mean, she's known for doing incredible tricks. Her stamina is crazy. Her height level when she does her gymnastics routines are totally insane. So she's just, for years now have been just incredible. If you think of like a Jordan or, a Tiger Woods or so, she is like in that category. So, she's at the Olympics this year, and the competition, I guess first what happened, she had like a not good performance, right? So she didn't have one good performance. And then as she continued, the competition continued, she straight dropped out. And when she dropped out, some people were saying that she was brave, and some people were saying that she was a quitter and she let America down. Now, the reason why she dropped out, right, was because She had what she said, she wasn't mentally all the way there, in the game. And as you know, that sport is like crazy dangerous, you know what I mean? Even if your headspace is already there. And so then they said she said that she developed a case of the twisties. Now I was like, what is twisties? Have you heard of twisties?
No.
So apparently twisties is a condition that some gymnasts get where, when they're doing the flips and they're up in the air and they're twirling. Well,
right.
It's almost like their sensibility. Oh, y'all peep my red cup. Yeah. Sorry. Usually I have my fancy mugs, but I moved. So there we go. This is what I'm working with tonight. So the twisties is it's almost like they are kind of disjointed in their mind. So when they do their twists, they're not sure which way is up, which way is down. Their body and their mind connection is off. And so that's why she said she had to drop out and it's a condition that other gymnasts have reported having throughout the years, and it's very dangerous. So she dropped out of the competition, she said, in order to allow her team, so she didn't negatively impact the scores of the USA Olympic team. And then, like I said, some people said, oh, she's so brave for doing that. And some people are like, she's letting America down. She just quit because she couldn't make it and she should have been prepared. So, Izzy, all of that, what do you think?
Well, and this is the first that I've heard of it this morning. And when I read some of it, and then I saw the comments, and immediately people were going in on her on the not so brave part. And my personal opinion, especially as a woman, or even men, whenever something is not right in your soul, in your mind, and in your heart, you need to follow that intuitively. Like if you know that this is not something that you want to do, you're not fully there, whether you have the twisties, the wisties, whatever you want to call them, go with your initial heartfelt feeling. And I felt like there was a lot of blame, like we talked about, a lot of shaming her for making that decision. And I immediately became frustrated because I'm like, if someone says they're not mentally ready to do this or they don't want to do it, they have the right to not do it and the right to not be judged. You know what I mean? That's my opinion. And so I was pretty upset about that. I'm like, why is she expected to move on if she doesn't want to mentally?
Right.
Yeah. So that kind of got me boiling.
Devil's advocate, though, right? It's like at what point, because if you think about top athletes and top executives, even yourself, I mean, there's plenty of times where you don't feel like pushing through. You know what I mean? Like you just don't feel like it. And then you like, okay, well, I need to get this done. And then you push through it and you get it done. And then you're like, okay, you know what I mean? So that's, I think, one aspect of it. And then the other aspect is kind of like, well, if you're not performing at your best, does that give you a reason to quit? Now, I'm taking Simone out of that question because, like I said, her sport is very dangerous.
Right.
With the jumping and all that. And I mean, they could break their necks. But, some people are like, well, what message is that sending in terms of quitting when times get tough?
Right. And I agree with that, but I don't want to have so much feedback. I agree with that, but I also think that we're in different times now. Had this not been anything with COVID or anything, like there's a lot on young people's minds, let alone adults, youth, and young people. I mean, we got COVID going on. It's coming back up again. You're worried about that. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know personally if that's a worry for her, but it's got to be in the back of your head somewhere. So I think that, like I said, if in your heart, if you feel like you're not ready and it's not affecting the team in any way, then so be it. Like I literally, when I was in high school, I was supposed to go 4 years. I think it was Kutztown. My track coach had really helped me get through with my SATs and everything. And he really, really, really was excited for me to go to Kutztown, but I felt like I wasn't academically ready. So guess what? I didn't go. I went to community college first, then transferred over to a university. And that was a
Right.
huge decision because I could have ran track, got scholarship money of some sort. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I knew that I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to academically, but I also wasn't ready to leave my parents and leave my family and move into a dorm. That just wasn't my
Right.
thing. And
Right.
I felt guilt and shame because he helped me so much. But at the same time, when I stepped foot into community college, I felt great because I knew that that's something that I had to do for me. So I
Right.
applaud her for making that decision on her own, knowing that she was going to have a whole bunch of backlash. Being
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
public, we make these decisions on our own and we're not famous. And we
Yep.
hear from family and friends, they're messaging us, girl, what you do that for? That's not right.
Right.
Imagine all of these people on CNN, ABC, and you have what critics are saying, but then you also have what the public's saying. And some of those comments are brutal. Like you would think that they were related to her in some way, and they had a personal relationship with the way that they're shaming
Right.
and judging her. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
really?
Right.
I just think
100%.
everybody is entitled to make their own decision, and we should be like, okay, whatever is best for you. I would really love to see you represent us, represent
Right.
the US, but I understand where you're coming from. Go do you. That's
Right.
it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that when I saw that this morning, I was like, oh my gosh, if they don't leave this poor girl alone.
So we have a few comments. So let's hit those real quick.
We had Charles Brakely. He says, good evening, ladies. Hi,
Good
Charles.
evening,
How
Charles.
are you? He said, yes, it's humid in Florida.
It's always, not even a gets. It just is. In Orlando, at least.
Yeah, oh my gosh, California is bad. I remember getting my hair done and stepping off the plane, and my hair was like, nope,
Yep.
Charles Brakely says her sport is very dangerous, and she has the right to pull out, especially if she has the potential to possibly get seriously hurt or possibly die. Yeah, her mind's not there. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like your mind's on 50 million things. You can't focus, but you're expected to walk across this tightrope. And underneath is a whole bunch of, you know what I mean? Alligators. Yep. You have to make a decision if you're going to have your head in it or not. So, yeah, that was just, I think people should just leave her alone. Let her
and it's a shame that it happened then. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, well, I guess not, because like you said, we're on a different time and space. Yeah. And I think even outside of COVID, I feel like there has been almost like an awakening for people to not necessarily live their life based on other people's expectations.
Right.
But that's, it's tough. It's tough to do because all the backlash that she's facing, but she's got a lot of great support. I mean, the Olympic Committee came out in full support of her. Right. A lot of your popular TV personalities, come out in full support. So, I think it's just this whole, like I said, some people feel like she let America down by quitting, especially since I think they were neck and neck. I can't remember if they were neck and neck with Russia or, another team like that. So they're like, girl, you could have brought us over the top. And meanwhile, she's like, well, I'm trying to not die doing this. But
I was talking to a friend like last week sometime, and is it why are we expected to do these things? Now, our conversation was on the lines of being a mom and being a wife and being a woman. Why are we expected to do all things and cope with mental health and cope with not feeling well? Or, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Instead of saying, hey, you know what? Good self-care. I'm not feeling it today. I'm sorry. You're not going to have dinner on the table. You might want to microwave something. But instead, we push through, and we were talking about how we push through and we do it, and then we feel guilty if we don't. And that shame that we're not a good enough mom or a good enough team player or a good enough Olympian because we don't follow the conditioning of the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Or you burn out. And then, you snap at people and, you're just like miserable to be around, you know what I mean? So it's, it's a lot. And everyone, to your point, goes through that in their own way. Moms probably go through it. Like you said, I'm sure, dads go through it trying to do this whole be a provider thing. You have executives that go through, and everyone's afraid to say, that's enough, I'm done. Like, I need a break. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to go over here in the corner and just sit down somewhere, and you got this, and you can figure it out. So, no, I mean, you're right. Kudos to her for stepping aside and letting her team. And the thing that I really love is that she pulled herself out of it, but she's still at the sidelines cheering her team on.
Right.
So it's not like she walked back to the locker room and was like, okay, y'all got this. And then I'm going to go. And, there's all this focus on her from a negative, standpoint. But she did it in a very classy way, I feel like. And she's still there supporting her team. And that's what it should be about.
Yeah. Plenty of times where I've had positions where I just wanted to walk out and be like, forget this. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yep.
I just wanted to walk out on the job because mentally it wasn't good for me. Yeah. And I would stick in. And then Source was just like, you know what? God was just like, you don't want to leave. I'm going to get you out somehow. Yeah. Just to put up with any type of, whatever it may be at this particular position that I had. But in my head, I was like, I really should just leave. This is too much. Mentally, I'm stressed. The time is bad. I'm rushing around with the kids. It's just not a good fit. Yeah. But in my head, I'm like, okay, I got to make this work because my kids are dependent on me. I have to get paid to pay the bill. You know what I mean? Like I'm making all these sacrifices. And in the end, I'm suffering. My family's suffering. Because it's always constantly on my mind. So wouldn't it be easier to just have that freedom and just be like, I'm done? Yep. And put your hands up. Yep. Yeah. Broke or not.
That's what I did, girl. I was like, I'm done. I'm done with this job. And it was, like you said, like too stressful, to the point at times where I felt like I had like heart palpitations, you know what I mean? And then after like 3 years of saying I'm out of here, I was out. So, but, so if you guys have any thoughts on Simone Biles, quote unquote, quitting, or being brave, let us know if you think she was brave or not brave. Now the next topic is do you want to talk about, what do you want to bring up next, because we have 2 really super fun topics.
Let's go with the fun one that's first, and then we'll go with the serious one that's after. And this one is an article that I pulled up on Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. And this I'm scrolling through this morning while I'm bugging Kendra, sending her 50 million messages. And the headliner was Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis say they don't believe in bathing their kids too much. Right. I'm like, what is going on here? And why are we even talking about this? Right. And so
first question
is I look at the comments because I know that people are gonna go off. They're like, that's nasty. You're dirty. You should wash your kids every day. And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I know what I've read and I've seen that we are not to bathe every day. We are supposed to bathe 2 to 3 times a week and then wash the important parts of the other times. Because if we shower every day, we lose the good bacteria or the good things that protect our skin. So again, this is like the second article. I'm all boiled because I want to hop in and say, hey, research first before you make the comment. But truthfully, this is why we're having eczema and all these other skin issues. We're drying the natural oils out of our skin. 100%. And so when I saw this, I understood completely where he was coming from, especially with the kids. And when my kids were coming up, I didn't bathe them every day. If they got dirty, and when he says dirty, meaning they were running outside, playing in the park. Right. If they weren't sweaty, I would have them wash the important parts, or I would wash the important parts for them. Right. And then we would move on about life to keep their skin and the essential oils. So this was pretty funny to me, and just listening to some of the crazy responses, and again, shaming because you're not doing what others are doing. And if this works for your family, it works. I mean, you want to shower every day, 2 or 3 times a day? Go ahead. Yeah. But allow this man to keep his kids dirty.
I know, but it's like what you said. It's a lack of it's just a lack of people really understanding from a scientific standpoint. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. We have microbes on our skin. We need a mix of those healthy microbes. That's why they say that kids actually who live out in the country are healthier than most of your suburban kids, and they also get sick a lot less. So even are around dirt and animals and they get dirty and all of this stuff, they're actually healthier than our kids who bathe every day. And that's because they're exposing themselves to a biodiversity of microbes in their body. And that biodiversity of microbes is what helps to keep you healthy. So, and they're getting that from, like you said, from the dirt, from the animals, all this, all this stuff. And meanwhile, we're scrubbing ourselves squeaky clean with these, harsh chemicals, walking around here smelling like, bananas and I don't know, bananas and popsicles or something, and then we wonder why, like you said, there's such a huge outbreak of people that have eczema, and inflammation issues. And the other thing that people don't realize is that a lot of the chemicals that are in your your soaps and your what do you call it? I was gonna say the liquid body washes. Yeah, a lot of those chemicals actually are disruptors to your hormone system for both men and women. So, and we know that there's been an increase in inflammation. There's an increase in people with allergies. There's an increase in people who have hormone issues. But yet, it's ridiculous.
Skin issues that pop up. I want to read this, and hopefully it says here, a new study shows that bathing too often is actually really bad for your skin. But the truth is that showering once a day also dries out your skin and removes the essential oils. And dermatologists say this. They say to do like a spot clean. You know what I mean? And then here it says here 2 to 3 times a week or every other day is sufficient to take a shower and to wash off. But according to your needs, like if you're a construction worker, you're gonna probably want to shower every day. That's just something, but try not to shower when. And again, I am not a doctor. Kendra is not a doctor.
Nope.
You need to consult with your physician and ask him how many times you need to wash up.
Or freaking just Google it and look at, like, there's so much scientific evidence out there that it will not take you longer, I promise you, than 5 minutes to find article after article about why you should. Now, and then I do think it depends on the place, because Orlando is humid. If you're in a humid place, then you're gonna have to adjust, and take some showers, because you will be walking around here funky as all get out.
Virginia has red clay dirt. I didn't realize that until we have red. Like, it was terrible when I had my first house built. If you walked outside in the red clay dirt, I think that's what they call it. It would go on your carpet, and once it's in your carpet, you can't get rid of it. So I had to have the builder the carpet because they accidentally trumped through my living room with the red clay.
Oh,
so
wow.
When you go to the parks, if grass is not covering that particular dirt, it's everywhere. It gets on your shoes. So sometimes I will walk in a store and I know people are looking down, like if I were back home, probably they look down and be like, why is her shoes so dirty? It's because of the red clay dust and dirt from walking through the fields or walking through the park or whatever. And when kids cast, when she doesn't walk right, she's skipping and kicking and dust is flying. So in that case, when we come home, I make her take a shower. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, wash up. But if we're just like chillaxing around and not doing anything crazy, and that's what keeps her skin so, it glows and it's so beautiful because of that. But if you keep washing and washing, you're just going to wash everything away. And then you'll have other things that pop up, not eczema, but like I've seen rare skin thing. They couldn't figure out why. Why it was going on. You could be bathing too much. You know what I mean? And then if you're bathing, replenish it with oils.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that with oils that can help,
Yeah. And people forget that our skin is there to protect us. So, and the way that it does, like your point is the oils part. Like dry skin is not, after a while it kind of breaks down and then you're losing a lot of your defense. Now, going back to, so their kids, which trips me out, like you said, Izzy, people have time to like just troll because they have young kids. Like we're not talking about teenagers. Their kids are like, I think maybe like 2 or like they're young.
Yeah.
So, you know, what they said in the article or on the, I think this was during like an interview, what they said is that, you know, if their kids have something on them, of course they'll like take a washcloth and like just kind of wipe them down, but they don't need to fully immerse them in bath water every single day. But, you know, people, and I don't know if you saw the comments there, but the comments there were hilarious. Like people were like going off.
That fun part to read some of that stuff. I'm like, really? And sometimes I want to respond, but I was, you know, talking to Chuck earlier, and I was like, I like cringe when I see moms that just come home and they just keep washing and washing their baby constantly and putting it on Facebook, because you don't really need to do that with a newborn baby, because you're like creating problems with the skin. You really don't have to, you know, washing their hair. Their hair is beautiful. Leave it be. You know what I mean? Just a little spot clean. You don't need to like give them. And I know it's a cute thing. You want to bathe your baby. You want to show the brushing of the hair, but it's really not necessary to do that. And I forget, how long should you wait? Is it like a week or so? Is it 2 weeks? I can't remember.
I think at least. Yeah.
I like seeing people with 3 and 4 day old babies, like just throwing them in the water. I'm like, give them a chance for their skin to develop some defense mechanism.
Yep. I agree. So we have a couple of comments on this topic.
Let's see. Charles says, I have to take a bath and a shower every day. Chuck, as long as I have some more Life body butter, I'm fine.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you for the shout out. I appreciate it. Yes. I will not.
Your body butter is life. If it can make my feet soft, then we good. You got some good stuff.
Thank you. So so that's the bathing thing. People, like you said, just let people do them. I mean, at the end of the day, you're not even smelling them at the end. You know what I mean? You don't even live in the same zip code. So
I mean, like I said, when you have children, I don't think you should do that. I think you just set them up for having skin issues.
Yeah.
Period. Across the board. They don't need to be like super washed. And they could give, I used to give like bird baths, like a quick bird bath.
Yes.
Or, you know, I have Case wash her arms and her face, because those are the most parts that are exposed, especially in the summertime when we have, you know, like when we're out and about and things like that. But otherwise, you know, I think you're good. Now, I was wondering, since we were talking about this, hair. People are over washing their hair and like drying it out.
And it's hard for people to break those habits. I agree. I will say that like my hair has always, no matter what style I wore it in, was always the healthiest when I waited a long time between washes, because just like, you know, I don't know. I think it's just this wrong impression of oily. You know what I mean? Because like you said, it's like a natural, your body is producing it. Now, some people do have an over excess of oil production. So that I understand. But the normal person does not even, and I don't care what race you are, because people of different races are like, you know, I got to wash my hair every day. No, you don't. You know, and again, you can Google it. It's not just me saying it, but it's actually, you're just so stripping your hair of the, but you know what? The beauty industry isn't going to tell you not to do that, because you're buying their shampoo, their conditioner, their deep conditioner, their hair mask, and their leave-in conditioner. That's 5 things, you know what I mean? So they're going to take your money, and they're going to figure out, and then your hot oil treatment. Don't forget about that. So
for me, I don't have to use any type of hair oils. It just naturally does it from whatever I eat. You know what I mean? I feel like whatever I eat creates this oil. And even if I don't put, like, I have a little lock twist or whatever, but if I don't put anything else in
Right.
my hair, I can feel that natural, and I just keep it. I keep it that way. It helps my hair grow. Everything works fine. But to find a system that works for you, like I said, if you need to shower every day, and that's fine, then go ahead and do it. But let his kids do their thing and
Yeah, let them
shower
live their life.
twice.
Let them
Twice.
live their life.
Yeah. Yeah. Now the next topic is pretty touchy, and it's child support.
I'm gonna take a drink.
Child support is wild. Like, I have a couple friends that work for like the DFS and the child support, and they literally have bulletproof glass in office because
Oh,
they
wow.
have like threats and stuff like that, because it gets a little touchy when mom requests money for her children and the father doesn't like it, and you get into all this drama. But
Yep.
I had read that, and where did I do with my article?
While you're waiting, we got a comment that I want to
sure.
shout out real quick. So we have William Dickerson. Hey, ladies, Izzy, Kendra, let's talk about it. Feel good talk. What's up, fam?
Hey, how are you?
Thanks for joining us. You're in
I looked at my article, and it is around. It's Kelly Clarkson. I read the article of Kelly Clarkson having to pay her husband $200,000 a month in child support and spousal support.
Yes,
and that is a lot. And the comments were going crazy.
I know. Well, it is okay. So, and then wasn't Dr. Dre? I think his wife, ex-wife, wanted $3 million a month. I don't know what she ended up getting.
It's for the year. It's like $3 million for a year. So let's break. And I'm just remembering from the article, because I don't have the article in front of me. And the stipulations with that was that she could get that as long as she didn't cohabitate with another man or marry another man. As soon as she did that, then the funds would disappear.
Right.
That's what I thought I read correctly. So I have so much to say about that. But
all right, so we'll go back to Kelly Clarkson. So Kelly Clarkson, apparently she makes 1.5, I think. Now this is what they say. Okay, right. So what they estimate is allegedly she makes $1.5 million a month. And so they were like, really, like, that is like pennies to her. And I guess he was requesting I think he was requesting like $400 and something thousand, and the judge came back and was like, no, what was it,
200,000? Yep.
Yeah, 200,000, and then I forgot, like, the majority of that is, I think, spousal support. Yep, and then some of that is child support, and the kids, actually, she has full custody of the kids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so yeah. And so it's for I think it's for a limited time. Maybe it might be for 2 years, 4 years. I don't know, something like that. But apparently she's not upset about it. But I'm like, wow.
That's a lot. The men in the I don't know which one I was on, but in the comments, the men were like, go ahead, boy, and saying things like it's about time, just kind of sparking things up with the women.
But Izzy, so the other thing is that if I have this correctly, he was her manager.
Oh.
So yeah, so I'm like, and there's this thing where people are like, you shouldn't be your spouse's manager. Right. You know what I mean? Like, women stop hiring these men, your husbands, as your manager, and vice versa, because then you're providing their livelihood, and then if something goes left, then that's, so I think that's the case. That's why he's getting so much spousal support. Yeah, because
I mean, this is how I feel. This is my personal opinion. I feel that whoever is entitled should get it, male or female.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. If you're making that kind of money and you're worried about that, then you need to sign a prenup.
So they signed a prenup, Sorry. So
That
they
didn't
signed
work?
the prenup, and so now what they're doing, so I guess this is almost like a temporary order of spousal support. And then if the judge finds the prenup, now this is per TMZ. All right.
Right,
So
right.
but if the judge finds that the prenup is valid, then the numbers will be readjusted. And they didn't say how much the prenup was for.
Yeah.
So that gets into a whole nother topic about, should you or shouldn't you have a prenup?
Yeah.
First of all, like how people's thoughts on prenups, people's thoughts on child support for men, and I mean the spousal support, and then the child support when the kids aren't even with him.
Right. Yeah. I've never had to sign any prenups or anything for anything, but I think if you've been in and I don't even know if this is going to sound right, but this is my personal thought. If you have been in a relationship with someone since you were like 6th or 7th grade and you truly trust them and you guys have been together forever, I personally wouldn't do a prenup. However, if you and this is pre being famous, do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And then this person, female or male, whoever it may be, grew into the relationship. But if you're famous and then you get in a relationship, I feel like you should have a prenup.
Yeah,
that sounds like
no. I mean, logically it makes sense, but then it's also like who goes into. Now, I will say, I guess I think about it different from like normal folks for celebrities, because I think celebrities should sign prenups because what's their average marriage? I don't know, tenure or expectancy or whatever. It's not, at least from what we see in the media, it seems like they might be together 3 years and break up. You know what I mean? Like it's so volatile. So in that case, I would agree. But in the normal person's case, I feel like, man, I just wouldn't want to go into a situation saying, well, if this doesn't work out, you know what I mean? Like, what are you thinking right now? Well, maybe we need some more time till you feel sure, like, that's crazy.
And I'm like, the only other relationship that I've seen, and it was some show that I had watched at one point, it's like a documentary, and this young lady, the guy had courted her, and she had lived overseas, and she's coming from overseas to be with him, and they had time together, they spent time together, they realized that they were both in love, and he popped up with a prenup. He was making a good amount of money. And she didn't want to sign the prenup because she's like, well, what if something happens to you and I get nothing? And I'm leaving my family who is overseas to come be with you. I signed this prenup. I'm going to be stuck here without my family. And it was just like, I understood where he was coming from because he felt like he didn't want to feel like he was being taken advantage of, but I understand where she was coming from too. But in the end, she ended up signing it anyways. So it's so touchy.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I mean, again, then what? Like if you feel like we're not going to work out, then let's just not go all the way there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. Or you could pull an Oprah and Stedman. I love Oprah. I admire her for just doing her thing and saying, hey, look, we are what we are. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
That's just her belief. I think, and I don't know if money has anything to do with it, but I feel that the relationship will work better. But once you bring a prenup into it, it starts to get into trust.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then on the other hand, you do have people who will be like, you know what, I'll sign the prenup because I love you. And I trust, and I don't think anything's going to happen. And I don't think we're ever going to need it. But if it makes you feel comfortable, then, then I'll sign it. So, I mean, I don't know. To this date, I have not dated a man with that much money where that was a problem for me. So.
We just hypothetically talking over here.
Yes.
Peter, you are funny.
So let's see. We have a comment.
Okay, that's funny.
Yeah, I want to borrow money. I don't know about giving.
It's that red cup, girl. It's that red cup.
Girl.
He said, Dr. Dre's ex has the option to say no. Yeah, but she wants the money. So there you have it. Unfortunately, stipulations are going to be there, and she's expecting it to get the money. So my thing is like, and I don't know, I just feel situations people have broken up with their husband, wife, divorced, they have moved on, but then there's stipulations in the court that says that they can't cohabitate or have a relationship with a person or bring a man to the house until they're married, while the other one is living perfectly as a hog, having his or her best life, but this poor soul can't even have a relationship because that was the poor.
But I think it also comes down to, I mean, unless you are, now this is devil's advocate,
right?
But like you can always get out and work. You know what I mean? So I think it goes into that conversation too, that, okay, well, it's not the life that I was accustomed to. Well, so sorry. You know what I mean? You're going to have to get out and work like everybody else. And unless you have like, if you have kids and maybe they're going to a private school, and I understand from the standpoint of not wanting to disrupt your kid's life, but that whole, and that I would not have signed something like that. Like, you're not going to regulate my personal life to that.
That's what I mean, it's tough. Like, I think that was, I don't know for sure how that worked as far as like the spousal support, but at that point, I would feel like there's some type of control issue,
right?
You know what I mean? So I would be like, okay, well, you just do your kid, and then the rest I'm not worried about, because you're not going to tell me whether I'm going to be with a man or not be with a man. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not going to happen. I don't think that's cool.
Unless I can see like, okay, well, I don't want you, like, I'm giving you money and now you're living with this man or this woman, and now y'all both up in here. I'm seeing you at like staying at the W Hotel, taking pictures on Facebook. You know what I mean? So I can see that aspect too. So I know we have a comment up. Go ahead.
Yeah. Cheryl says, there's nothing wrong with a prenuptial. There probably wouldn't be as many divorces for the wrong reason. There's a lot of gold diggers out there. I don't know.
And then I say, don't pop the question. You know what I mean? Like, if you feel like you're with a gold digger, or it could potentially be a gold digger, then don't pop the question. Right. Because I feel like we all see things, but then we, we may ignore it or excuse it out, or, something like that. But
Charles he is on fire about this subject. He said, she doesn't have to take it. That's on her. She's agreeing to it. Yeah. That's tough, man, because you don't know, like, sometimes the judges will base it off of if she's a stay-at-home mom, what kind of education she has, how quick she can pop up from that and provide for her family. So they've got their calculations that they do. You know what I mean? And I don't know her situation. Maybe she's a stay-at-home mom. So in that case, the judge is like, okay, boom, this is what she needs to survive. Yeah. And it seems like a lot, and that's because he makes a lot. Now, had this been someone else who was making less, it would be a little bit less. Yeah. Still seem like a lot. But she's got to feed them. They've got to maintain the same lifestyle. So.
And I do agree, because I feel like people do not fully understand, and I think especially more so for women, when you have to re-enter the workforce. Right. You know what I mean? So, if you're a woman, especially if you're a woman of a certain age, companies aren't really going to want to hire you. You have to get all the skills up in order to do, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I'm kind of being lighthearted with some of this, but in reality, there's some women that have been, fully dependent for so long, and to know, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing either, right? But I'm just
like, how do you come back? How do you come back from that when and it depends on how many kids you have. I mean, you got 4 and 5 kids, you got to find you got to make sure that they have daycare. Girl. It's a totally different ballgame when you're on your own. You know what I mean? Like,
I do know what you mean, Izzy. Personally.
Totally different ballgame. Chelsea says he doesn't want a bum living off his money. I know.
Yeah, I would feel the same way.
Oh, I don't know. She should have saved money while being with him.
Woo.
I still think that now I'm going to go and say this. In Kelly Clarkson's situation, is she putting that stipulation on him because he's getting $200,000 a month? Is he not allowed to date and have, not date per se, but cohabitate, or, will she take his money away?
I don't think so. I didn't
right.
see
you know what I mean? Why are you doing that to her? To me, it feels like just a control thing, I think. You know what I mean? Yeah. Unless, and again, I don't know the full situation, and with the judge order, there could be other things, but I just think, yeah.
And it's hard with that last comment. She should have saved money while being with him, because I think every situation is different. Because you have people out there, I think both on men and the women's side, that are so good at being, sneaky and being like putting on a facade that, oh, everything is good. And then next minute they're like, I'm leaving you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then you're like, what just happened? So, in those cases, the person wouldn't, expect, or sometimes you may be like, oh, we're just going through an issue and everybody has their issues. Right. And then next minute, the person's like, oh, I'm out. And you're like, wait, what? Like, I thought we were working on this. Right. But I have to say, it's, for me, it would be sad to say, well, I need to save money. I guess depending on from the jump, that wouldn't be my go-to. Right. But I have done that once I knew it was like, okay, this is work. And then I did exactly that. So right. I see it from both sides.
I want to say at least she has the children. I mean, he's walking away $200,000 a month, and he doesn't even have the kids full time. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm like, what kind of activities are they doing at your house when they come to visit? Because I think when they do split custody, like they're small kids, right? Like, what are you doing?
Just the house, because I guess they're not. I don't know if they're staying in the same house.
But you gotta put on Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and call it a day, because they don't require that much. I mean, come on. They're a little.
Says it is a controlling thing, but she agreed to it. I guess she wants to be a lonely millionaire, and then with a broke man. But you don't know if she's gonna have somebody that's broke. I mean, like.
Girl,
I just feel like that's just sucking the soul out of you. You know what I mean? Like, you're just not free. I like being
But she did agree to it, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. Like, you signed the paper, so either you want the money or the man, and you better decide.
Yeah.
And not to say that she still couldn't see somebody on a sneak tip.
Right. Oh, that's not gonna. They're gonna have her. The paparazzi would have that. Like,
yeah, true.
We hear about that. And read the comments underneath for that one too.
Yeah. I'm
happy to talk about these things because literally all three of these things came up on my timeline today and yesterday, and I was just like, I didn't want to comment because you know how that goes when you comment in those little sections. It goes wild. People try to message you and do all kinds of things.
Right.
But I really wanted to talk about it, and I really wanted our community to think about some of these things that and we may even go through things like that, but on a smaller scale.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
On a smaller scale. But I've not ever known any man to get child support. Like, I think I've only known one family, but no one else that I know of ever. It's always the female or the mom that gets the support.
But I think in this case, because he was her manager and now he's out of a job, so they, calculated it like that. So I guess, while he was her manager, he was probably, getting a salary, even though they were married. But you know what I mean, for tax purposes and all that. So technically, if you're out, but I recall, I think Wendy Williams and her husband, I think her ex continued to work together for a little bit after they got divorced because he was her manager.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he ended up paying, if she ended up paying him. I think she did.
Yeah. What about, because I think Mary J, her husband was her manager too, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you.
That's
Y'all
tough.
better find some neutral managers.
Managers and dealing with people that you work with are just like relationships in the workplace. We need to talk about that. Relationships in the workplace when they go wrong.
Exactly.
And you like break up with them and you still have to like see them every day. But I feel good to kind of like let that off of my chest, just the discussion in general, because I was just sitting there like, I can't believe this person is saying this. Why are they saying that? But I think it was just like a fun thing for the guys to finally. It sounded like a whole bunch of scorned divorced men that were inside the comment section.
I am probably like, yeah, you took my team. Yes, I'm sure.
So we will go to commercial break and then come back and talk about a few other things. And if anybody else has any other questions, you guys can pop in. So we'll go to commercial break.
Yep. See you soon.
That is my favorite commercial. I'm telling you, one day I'm going to pop up with some Christmas lights. I'm going to cut the light out and I'm going to do my version.
I believe it and I want to see it.
It's going to be in all black and just put some Christmas lights. I know I can do it. I just going to
I believe you can, girl. I believe it. I will be cheering you on.
That was our commercial for the A Game. It is a male supplement that has many, many, many benefits. And if you are interested, you definitely need to check with Mr. Charles Brakely. He has samples that he can get out to you. So be sure to message him via Feel Good Talk. Yeah. And there's 2 left.
That's right. There's only 3 or 2 left. Y'all better jump on it. It's men only supplement. But, ladies, you might thank your man. So it's for everybody. It's for everybody.
But also, a woman were to take it. Don't take it. I'm just guessing.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah.
This is a great some great topics to talk about. Things are just going on in the world, and some of the headlines are just like insane. But I think in general, I like to say, let people live their life.
Yeah, I agree.
Let them live their life. It's interesting that everybody does things different and come from a perspective where you'll say, well, wow, I wonder why he bathes his kids only twice a week. There must be some type of benefit.
And he's not the only one. Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
And just try to find out like why, like Google it. But I mean, that's you saying bad things about him not bathing his kids is not going to change him.
Yeah. And even on the Simone Biles topic, with her being brave, like how can we exercise, to your point, Izzy, how can we exercise bravery in our own lives? I mean, she's on the global scale. And, she's visible globally. So everyone has like a microscope on her. But, there's a lesson to be learned there for all of us. And I mean, even if it's just something small, like how can you exercise bravery in your own way? Right. So don't be afraid to step into that. And yes, you're going to get criticized and some people aren't going to understand. But at the end of the day, they're not paying your bills. They don't have to live with the turmoil that you're probably facing for not doing what your heart and your mind is telling you to do for the sake of pleasing somebody else. Right. So this week, I challenge everybody to exercise bravery in some sense, because once you do it once, you're exercising a muscle, and then it gets easier and easier to do. And next minute, people will be like, oh, you're different. Oh, yes, I am. Thank you.
Right.
So,
and she's encouraged so many people by just doing it her way.
yes.
My opinion, I'm like, dude, I've practiced for hours. I'm an Olympian, hours and hours. Until you have practiced these hours and sacrificed these, all this time and money and just, hurt bones and arthritis and whatever might come with that.
Yes. Yep.
Sit down.
Yep. Have several seats.
Have several seats.
Have several seats.
Zip it up.
Then for the child support topic, y'all better be careful what papers you're signing. That's my takeaway. Be careful of the papers you're signing. But most importantly, just, I don't know, like, I feel like whether you agree with the prenup or not agree with the prenup, go into situations with your eyes wide open, with your, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know, like, just don't expect the end when you go into something, but be prepared in case the end happens. I think that's my,
and to make sure you research divorce laws in your state. Every state and county is different. Not to condemn your marriage or, but if it were to happen, what's going to happen in that?
And I'm not trying to say to, like, do it tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like this should be something that's like, okay, we've tried this. I mean, in my humble opinion, we got counseling, we got help, like, I think, in my opinion, I feel like nowadays people are too quick to jump out of stuff. You know what I mean? For the sake of just like, oh, what is the saying? FOMO? Is that it?
Right.
No, there's another one. Live your own life or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a woman of a certain age. I don't know what these things are, but there's something out there about, like, just everyone just like, do what you feel, quit this, quit that, So, I am not of that opinion. I think you should try to work through things. And then if you see that there's an end of the road coming, prepare yourself. But I think everyone's got to do what's best for them at the end of the day on that. And like you said, Izzy, don't judge other people, because we really don't know their personal situation. We don't know what happened between this couple. We don't know, like you said, if she's a stay-at-home mom or maybe he's a stay-at-home dad. So
that drives me crazy. When I see those comments, and I had to stop reading comments because I'm just like, dude, where'd you get that from? And meanwhile, people are just not realizing that when you click on their profile, you can see their pictures and everything.
Exactly.
It's like
if we can come into their lives, if their lives were on display.
Yeah, I think it's, and before we go, social media is giving people courage. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't understand why they think that they can say and do, say mean things in these comments without, having any kind of backlash from anyone, because your picture is there. And sometimes people will take pictures at landmarks, and I'm like, dude, that person lives in Missouri. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
Yeah. If you are gonna make mean comments, black your picture out or put a fake one up. I don't know what to tell you, because people can actually see you. They think you're hiding behind something, but you're really not. It's just another form of communication where people can see you. So, but that's another topic.
And you bring up a good topic, because I was going to say, I think that's a great topic for another show, because with social media being so rampant and being used for so many things, people forget that they have to protect their personal brand.
Yes.
Whether you own a business or not, like, what you put out there in social media speaks about you, and people just are not thinking. They're just like, oh, I can just say whatever because I have the freedom of speech and all of that. And, like, I get it, but at the same time, it's your personal brand, and you really should protect it, because the more we advance in technology, the social media aspects of life are just going to seep more into our daily lives, even more than it is now. So
right?
But we
new that they have on Facebook. And this thing is, so what will pop up is an article, and it will be by some random, like not even a CNN or anything like that. It's a random comment. And then when I comment on it, you can actually see that I commented on it. And I noticed this. And so
really?
It's making a traction of more comments, and I'll have to show it to you. Like today it was like, well, what do you think about this? And then I can see all my friends that commented underneath, which makes me want to comment and feel comfortable commenting under this random post that has nothing to do with anything that I've ever associated with. It's kind of like it's similar to a sponsor ad, but it's not a sponsor ad. They just started doing this. And it was like,
I get it.
You know, if you're 50 something years old and you think you look young, post your picture, or, you know, and then underneath that, like, oh, I saw Kendra just did hers, and then I can see your comment, and then I'm like, oh, cool, I'm going to comment too. Meanwhile, this post is generating so much traction for whoever's doing it. It's crazy. They just change a lot of, you know, different things on these social media platforms.
Yeah, they do. That's a topic for another show too, about how how they try to suck us in. All right, so let's get to these last comments, and then we can close out for tonight.
Charles Berkeley says, yes, it was very brave of her to do this.
Simone Biles. Yeah, I agree.
We're going to hear so much about it in the next couple of days. It's going to be unbelievable. I'm sure that it was a hard decision. Yeah, I'm sure she spent lots of nights just trying to figure out and weigh out everything to get a lawyer to look at those papers. Yeah.
If I had to sign one of those things, I will be putting money away. Yeah. Like just automatically. I'll be putting money away. Okay.
Yeah. Joe says it's always better to have and to not need than to need and not have.
I agree.
That's a good
That's sad. But I agree.
There's always a friendly and loving way to get out of something.
I do agree with that too.
Yeah. And your negative actions on social media will come back to haunt you. I'm trying to tell you. Can't. Yeah. I did. And before we close, I was on, and I think it was like during Obama's election or whatever, and they were just going off.
I can only imagine.
I said some things. And I ended up having like this hacker tell me that that's how I came up with the name Izzy Meditates. I had to change it. I had this hacker that told me, I'm going to take all your pictures and I'm going to post them everywhere. And I'm like, what? And he's like, and I'm like, why? He's like, because you said this and you said that. And so I'm really funky about commenting in some of these things because they are, what do they call them again? Trolls.
Yeah.
They're not like even real people, so they don't even care. You know what I mean? Like they don't care about what they.
Where was he gonna put? Well, I guess my first question is, what kind of pictures was he talking about?
Well, he was gonna take.
And then
what happens is, so they actually have a full page that's a troll page, and so if you post your picture and you make it public, people can see it.
Then all of these trolls are gonna come after you. Is that
all the trolls are coming to this? They're putting it on a troll page, and then that page, anybody can look at your pictures of your family and make comments. Like I literally was on the page. It was like It was so weird. Yeah. Like he'd like stolen pictures of this poor woman whose son was handicapped, and he stole it to prove a point. Stop putting your pictures public. But if you have a business and it's your business, you have to put your stuff public. You know what I mean? So in this group was like thousands and thousands of pictures of people that didn't even realize that their pictures had been stolen.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it's so creepy. It's the creepiest thing. And all I could think about was like my cats or, my son. I don't care about me. You can picture me all day. I love self.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I know. Thank you for helping me promote my business.
I know, right? So you got to be careful when you comment in places like that. And then again, you have to be careful because you comment and people are nuts. They'll come after you because you don't realize that they can find you through silly things like just you standing in front of a restaurant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got to be really careful. But that's another topic. We have so many other topics we can go up on.
Yes. So we'll save that for another show.
Yes.
But
and if you guys want to connect with us, be sure to check us out on LinkedIn. We're on LinkedIn at Feel Good Talk. We're on Facebook at Feel Good Talk. On YouTube at FGT Mind, Body, Soul, and Business. We're on Instagram at Feel.Good Talk. And then you can email us at feelgoodtalk113@gmail.com. We also have a website. It's www.feelgoodtalk.net. If you go to our YouTube page, like and share our videos. Be sure to do that. There are people out there that would love to hear or see what we have to say. So be sure to like and share our videos on YouTube. Feel Good Talk has live shows. We have Feel Good Talk Love 101, which is on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. We also have Let's Talk About It. That's us. On Thursdays at 7. We have Williams World, which is on Friday at 6 p.m. Jamila J's Girl Talk on Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 p.m. PST. And then we have Gimme Some Sugar. I love saying that. Baking with Steven on Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and then 2 p.m. PST. I still got to get me a cake. Feel Good Talk also has pre-recorded shows. We have Mindfulness Mondays, which is me, Izzy Meditates, Monday at 9 a.m. We have Words from the Heart with Miss Shayna Gordine at Tuesday at 9 a.m. And we have More Life with Essentials Oils on Wednesdays with Miss Kendra Moore at 9 a.m. And then we have my daughter Cassandra's Corner on Saturday at 10 a.m. So Feel Good Talk, we support families, and we have everything every day of the week for families. We are family friendly.
My battery's running low.
I love that about us. That is just the coolest thing that we're able to do that. So be sure to tune in and check us out when you have time. If you miss it, don't worry. If you're not on the live, I'm not worried if you're not here today because we have it pre-recorded and you can go back and watch it on the recording. So, but thank you guys for tuning in.
Share.
We love you. Thanks, Kendra. I know your schedule's like super busy that we got a chance to get together.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
And we will see you next week.